What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Red and Gold Standard podcast. My name is Zach Hernandez, and as always, I am joined by my co-hosts Matt Llewellyn and Mike Andrews of Nothing But Niners. Hope you guys are all having a good night. We are here to bring you guys a season recap plus off-season preview, get into how the season went compared to how we thought it was going to go, what coaching staff changes we think need to take place, which roster changes we think we're going to need to take place, whether it's free agency, the draft. We're going to get into it. We're not going to cover every single thing since we have a whole offseason, guys, so don't go anywhere. We're going to be bringing you shows every week. Mike multiple times a week because he is on that grind. Before I toss it over to my guys, if you're watching on X, do us a solid, hit like and repost. If you're watching on YouTube, do us a solid, hit like and subscribe. Go to Nothing But Niners, subscribe there. Go over to 49ersHive, subscribe there. We appreciate the support. Now that I got that out of the way, Matt, how you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm hanging in there, Zach. I think I've kind of finally accepted the fact that we're probably going to watch a division rival win a Super Bowl on our field, and maybe that's for the best. Maybe that will be what spurs Kyle to make a little bit of changes. I'm sure we'll get into that, but if someone getting after you 54-9 in 2 games and winning a chip on your field doesn't kind of put that stream of consciousness in your head, I don't know what will. Other than that, I'm good, man.
Well, all right. Mike, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Getting adjusted to the weather conditions out here in the Northeast. Loving the snow, loving the ice, but man, it is not something that you want to do consistently, let me tell you. Other than that, everything is good, and I'm ready to have a good episode here.
Yeah, that's crazy. There's insane amount of, that winter storm on the East Coast. So I hope you guys are doing well. Hope everybody in the audience that's maybe locked in or snowed in, I guess is the term. I'm from the Bay Area. I was just telling the guys I've dealt with snow once in my life, and I had to drive up to Tahoe to deal with it. So it is completely foreign to me. So hopefully you guys are staying safe and enjoying it. It always sounds like a pleasant, nice, cozy evening in my mind, right? It's like a little fireplace. You got the movie on. You got the dogs. But that's like a Christmas snowy night. And then I'm sure after that, it's just like you want to strangle each other by the neck already because you're sick of each other and you're out of groceries and it's only day 3 or something like that. So I can't even imagine. But all right, let's get into the season recap. We're not going to spend too much time on it. We're all 49ers fans. We all know how the season went. I'll start off since I have the floor. This season went better than I expected, honestly. Obviously, worse in some aspects when it comes to injuries and whatnot, but I'm pretty sure if we were able to go back, and we had a difficult time for some reason finding our season preview shows that we did in August or July when the schedule came out, and I think I picked the 49ers to go either 12-5 or 13-4. I forget which, and I think I said a wild card exit. So the fact that they went roughly around there and went to the divisional round, they sent Philly home. That's a win for me. On top of all of that, the amount of rookies that played on this defense, now unfortunately it was by necessity because they didn't have anybody else, I think is a huge win because the 49ers needed those players to get that experience going into year 2. Overall, I think it was a good year for the 49ers. They overachieved. Kyle Shanahan obviously is a top contender for Coach of the Year. I'm excited to see where this goes, how they can build on it, what they do in the next 6 months, because I think that's really going to be important as to how the NFC West looks next year. Matt, I'll toss the floor to you on your season recap, and you don't have to give it all at once, but just what were your thoughts on the year?
I mean, I think that I remember predicting that if they got to, that I thought they'd get to the divisional round, and that would be a good season for them. The fact that they started off so defensive heavy, Robert Saleh was a late addition to come back to the team. They draft really heavy defense. I think what was the first 6 picks were all defense. We were looking at an overhaul year. Deebo Samuel was out the door. We didn't know what we were going to get with Brandon Ayuk, which turned out to be absolutely nothing. We were hopeful for Ricky Pearsall. I know I said he would be a 1,000-yard receiver. Unfortunately, PCL that seemed to last forever kind of kept him out of that. But, losing Brock Purdy for 9 games. The actual season and the events of the season went way worse than I anticipated, that I think anybody anticipated. But the results of 12-5, I mean, if Kyle Shanahan isn't he's not going to win, right? I don't think the league's going to let him win. But if he's not top 3, like that's a travesty of justice, because he did more with less than any coach in the NFL.
Right.
So overall, I thought it was a successful season. And I admit, much like everybody else, once they made the playoffs, it's like, oh, they're in the dance. Like anything can happen. Right. And it, injuries and a lack of speed on the team really caught up to them. And let's face it, like I said in the open, Mike McDonald got after him 54-9 in 2 games. That's somebody in your backyard. You have to play him twice. So Kyle's going to have to go back. Kyle's going to have to figure this whole thing out and figure out how to beat McDonald's defense, specifically against the 49ers when he's running, all of his corners and safeties, taking away the intermediate of the field and daring you to beat them outside. And without the team speed, without somebody that can, really run crisp routes, I don't know that they're going to have anything for it. I have a sneaking suspicion. I have a idea of what they could potentially do if they want to keep working within Kyle Shanahan's offense, but it remains to be seen. He's going to have to make some changes, though, and I'm kind of excited to see what it is. But overall, successful season given everything that happened.
Before I toss it to Mike, I just want to say, if Kyle Shanahan doesn't win it, do you think Mike McDonald or Vrabel is the favorite? Matt, who do you think will win it?
I think you have to look at McDonald. I mean, they've dominated. Vrabel, you obviously is going to be right there too. I think Liam Cohen has an outside shot at getting some votes as well, just because the Jaguars were really bad last year. Yeah, I mean, you think about bringing in Sam Darnold as your quarterback. You got rid of Geno Smith. Mike McDonald essentially figured out how to just I've never seen Kyle Shanahan, not even against the Chiefs, really, have I seen Kyle Shanahan's offense get this bullied. It's ugly, man. And even the game that they won, they only scored 17. So you're talking in 3 games, he scored 26 points against 3 games, 26 points. That's less than 10 a game. So yeah, they got a lot of figuring out to do. I just think that from top to bottom, when you look at it, they've been clearly the most impressive team in the playoffs. That, let's be honest, the Patriots kind of backdoored their way to the Super Bowl, right? Chargers, very injured team. Texans, CJ Stroud just turned into, JJ McCarthy all of a sudden. And, Denver, obviously Bo Nix with the broken ankle in divisional round. They kind of backdoored their way into it. So I think Vegas thinks, and I think we all here probably think, that it's going to be not the closest of games. I'm hoping that it is. I'm hoping they surprise us. But as it stands right now, you look at the Seahawks, and they were on it from minute 1, and they kind of went wire to wire, and they've been one of the more impressive teams to do it.
My only hope is that if McDonald wins it, no coach since Bill Belichick has won Coach of the Year and also won the Super Bowl in the same year. I'm pretty sure only 5 in the history of the NFL have done it. Obviously, it doesn't beat anything, right? It's the Seahawks and Patriots, but that's my cope. But good take. Before I toss to you, Mike, we got a super chat here from Senor Tiny Baby Goats. I'm a fan of Arrival, but I fell into your channel after your Jacks game. The football knowledge and your excitement for your team has me checking back every week. Thank you for your great content. Appreciate that. That's awesome. We appreciate it.
That's one of the cooler things, is when we get people who don't root for the team, that aren't really invested in the 49ers, that will come here and talk. So I know we have rival teams usually do that. And I know you're a fan of a rival too, but it's always good when people want to come in and actually have legit conversations.
Right. Yeah, not just come in here to troll us, which is fine. Come in here to do what you want.
Jim Everett.
Yes. Thank you, Senor Tiny Baby Goat. You got to give us the background on that name.
It's comments like this that make me wish we didn't stuff ourselves into 49ers only content. You know what I mean? I think that if we broaden our horizons, people would really, really tune in more. And it's really cool to see that people, even though we cover Niners exclusively, they still come back to watch how we talk about the games and all. It's really cool. So thank you again for that super chat. We appreciate it.
Yeah, it's one of the nicer ones we've gotten. Mike, what are your thoughts on the season? I think I remember what you thought the season was going to look like, but What are your
Yeah,
thoughts?
no, it's all good, man. I had the Niners going 13-4 on the season, and I said that we were guaranteed a playoff spot just because of the strength of the schedule. But overall, I think it's still fair to say that I walked away disappointed with the season. Just some of the effort, the defensive staff in general was a major letdown. We thought Robert Saleh was going to come in and be like the savior, and we just saw more of the same. Honestly, the poor tackling and the secondary still making the same mistakes over and over and over. The way that they do the coverage and all that, and this is basically the recap after every game, right? It was just disappointment after disappointment. One of the good things about the season is all the negatives that we had to endure and overcome, right? Zach, you mentioned how much experience the rookies got, right? How much experience the second-year players got because of the injuries, right? Like you said, they got it out of necessity, and we know that's not the way the Niners prefer to do things, but it's good experience for these guys, and I think that means that they'll come back better next year for it. But another positive is that we weren't that good inside the division, right? I mean, I think we finished 3-3, but
4-2.
it was we swept the Rams.
No,
the Rams beat us
we
also.
swept the Cardinals. And
Oh,
then
that's right. We
split.
split with the Rams and Cardinals. You're right. So we were 4-2, but those losses were like like the second time around for both of those teams, they beat the dog shit out of the Niners.
Yep.
And so those teams were also built to catch up and surpass the Niners. Now it's our turn to build and counter what they've done. Right, so like that's kind of what I'm hoping to see here. It's no more let's maintain where we were. There's only two ways of improving in the NFL. You're either staying the same, which means you're getting worse, or you're getting better. And so it's going to really force the hand of this front office and all going into this offseason. So I'm really excited about that. I think that there's some valuable lessons to be learned for not just the players, but the coaching staff and the front office as well.
I think also something, just reflecting on the year where we were coming into August, major question marks, the 49ers special teams unit. Now, I know the last memory we're going to have of this year's special teams unit is Rashid Shaheed running up the sideline and Eddie Pinheiro trying to sucker, slide kick, tackle him. But I think overall, we could all agree that it was a huge improvement on pretty much any special teams unit we've seen since Kyle Shanahan has been here. Swapping out Jake Moody for Eddie Pinheiro was like huge difference.
We were so far in last year that there was nowhere to go but up, but we made a substantial improvement in that regard. So probably better than any of us expected, but it was just nice, especially, week one, Jake Moody was still here, right? And then we're just like, we're going to do this thing again. And no, to their credit, they got rid of him. They brought in Eddie Pinheiro, and again, Gennaro Pinheiro. Never once when he kicked one was I like, he's going to miss this. And there were a couple of misses on extra points, but overall it was nice to know that, hey, we're in field goal range. This should be good. And I don't, it's like, let me get ready to go grab whatever during the commercial break. I know we're going to put 3 points on the board.
Run to the bathroom.
And I think he had one miss on the season as far
as
field goal attempts. It was like a halftime
64-yarder.
Yeah, and his longest before coming to the Niners was only a 53.
And
he broke that.
Do you remember the miss? It hit the middle of the bottom upright.
Yeah.
Like the middle of the goalpost. It's dead center. Right. So he had the accuracy dead on from 64 yards out. He just needed like another yard.
Yeah. So that was a great thing. I don't know if he's coming back. I don't know what his deal was and all that stuff. And we'll get into that as the off season goes on. We'll start breaking down the free agents that the team has and the restricted free agents and all that kind of stuff. And that's what makes it fun, though. Like I said, there was so much to learn from here. I personally wasn't too happy with the punter, but I've also seen worse. You know what I mean? And it was a really good season to really step back and reflect on. Successful. I think so when you factor in all that we had to endure this year. But like I said, from a fan's perspective, and we look at this thing under a microscope, right? There's a lot to be disappointed with as well. And I'm looking forward to having those kind of conversations throughout this episode.
Yeah. I think that just looking back, this was the year, if you guys remember, a lot of analysts, a lot of sports media were picking the Niners to win like 4 to 7 games. And it was because of the mass exodus. They acted like it was like the 2014 or whatever year Harbaugh left exodus, and a cap basically eating a bunch of dead cap year. That was this year. And it reminded me of the Broncos last year when they shocked everybody and made the playoffs with Bo Nix as a rookie while eating like an insane amount of dead cap for getting rid of Russell Wilson. And that's kind of what this year was for the 49ers. So the fact that they were able to do that, I mean, their major offseason free agent signing was Luke Farrell. I'm pretty sure that was their biggest signing. So the fact that they did that with basically zero free agency and a ton of rookies, and they still made it to the second round of the playoffs, going 4-2 the division. Something that's wild, and I don't know if you guys caught this, they didn't lose back-to-back games at any point this year. Going into at any point, they did not have a losing streak. They had a winning streak, multiple winning streaks, but they didn't lose back-to-back games, which is impressive for this team as beat up as it was. I want to address this comment real quick from Nicola D'Antonio. Bizarre thing is Kyle, the offensive genius, can only put up 9 points on the Sea Chickens in 2 games, and McVay put up 27 points in 1 game. If you give Kyle Shanahan Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams and Matt Stafford, I'm sure that
and the
outcome looks a
halfway
little
decent
different.
offensive line.
Right. And 3 starting caliber tight end. Like, I think it looks a little different when you have a one-legged Ricky Pearsall, Juwan Jennings who runs like a 4.9, Christian McCaffrey at 40 years old, and no George Kittle.
Exploded. Yeah.
Right.
Farrell and
I'm not beyond criticism because I do think, like Mike said,
yeah,
Purdy looked like he was the only one that came to play that day. Everybody else seemed like they were still on the bus. So it is what it is. He's going to have to spend the offseason studying that defense. I saw a video of Mike McDonald talking about.
By the way, real quick, I just want to say with that comment too, Robert Saleh got what? I mean, let's take away the Shaheed touchdown, but
35, 34
dumped on his head, and he parlayed that into a head coaching gig. So,
which is terrible. He didn't deserve it, in my opinion. Like I thought after those performances, no one was going to want Robert Saleh.
I'm of the opinion at this point that after getting a taste of head coach, I think Saleh is going to be one of those that's a better head coach than he is a coordinator. That's
not a wild take. His team was only there's some things that we just forget because of recency bias. And I think that we were all excited about Robert Saleh coming back because he finally had Nick Bosa again. He only had him that one season, and it was a Super Bowl season, and the defense was top 5, right? So it's like, oh, he's got Bosa again, and then we lose Bosa very, very early in the season, and it looked like Robert Saleh pre-Bosa, and we were all calling for his head. So, it's like I feel like this defensive scheme is more dependent on the physical players and their skill set than it is the actual scheme. And that's what people just don't realize. Like that Legion of Boom team was full of stars. And that's what Kyle Shanahan was like, oh, I love that. Give me that. And then we didn't have those stars here for a long time. And then the one time we did have them, it's Super Bowl seasons. You know what I'm saying? So we haven't really had it again. Now, D'Amico got more out of them, I think, than what Robert Saleh ever did.
100%. 100%.
So
I think that Robert Saleh is probably one of the more overrated. Everybody talks about the all gas, no brakes, the very energetic, fired up nature that he has, but the staleness of this defense, not only after he started it here, right? And to his credit, he did adjust. When he first was here, we were all getting pissed off because he'd be dropping Bosa in coverage on third downs. He's following wheel routes out on a tight end. And it's just like, why is your defensive end following a tight end up the sideline? What are we doing? And he did kind of get out of that, the really soft baby shit, 3rd and 15, 3 on the line, 8 guys back kind of thing. They got rid of that. But he maintains the gross underperformance of the defensive line, which we'll talk about a coach that I think needs to get gone immediately. And Mike, I'm sure you're on the same page there. He got nothing out of these rookies, nothing close to what they should have been getting out of these rookies. You drafted these guys, and again, a little bit short of a season for Michael Williams, who tore his ACL, right? But it's not like he was gangbusters ahead of time. He was really good against the run, but no development in the pass rush. You bring in Collins and CJ West, and they had flashes which I hate that word, but they had plays where they were good, but inconsistent, right? The DB's terrible. You know, you bench Siegel and you have Jair Brown in there who's a turnstile. And then you don't realize until the playoffs that Siegel is actually better than Jair Brown. But, you know, it's like saying soft serve is better than having full-blown diarrhea, right? It's just all bad.
Lenore has his worst year.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm just afraid that they're going to run it back with Gus Bradley. I really hope they do due diligence. And, you know, again, there is a personal connection between Kyle Shanahan and Raheem Morris. I'd like to see them bark up that tree. It looks like Schwartz is probably going to be the next head coach in Cleveland by, you know, process of elimination if you really break it down. But this scheme is tired, man. It's tired. And if you think you're going to go from Robert Saleh running a scheme to Gus Bradley, who, again, to his credit, invented the scheme, but again, it's a tired scheme. And they don't have the horses to, like, to Mike's point, there's no Richard Sherman, you know, there's no Cam Chancellor,
Earl Thomas,
exactly. Right. You know,
Red Bryant, like they had studs,
right. Michael Bennett,
you know,
right.
We have the Bobby Wagner component and Fred Warner, but that's it. Like, you can't just run it with that. And with no pass rush, you're putting those guys out on an island, and that's not going to be good enough. The safety play specifically was terrible this year. Terrible.
All right. Now, I'm sorry not to cut you off. I know that Zach wanted to do a not the super chat yet. You were talking about a Mike McDonald video.
I was, yeah. And then we'll get to the super chat. Just about, I was talking about how Kyle needs to spend the next 6 months figuring out this McDonald defense. I saw a video of Mike McDonald. It could have been when he was still with Baltimore, but he talks about, you know how Kyle, I heard him talk about how defenses have rules. They go based on what they see and what formation you're in. They know you can either do X, Y, or Z. And because they can't predict 100% certainty, they just go with what's likely to happen and go from there. Well, Mike McDonald has basically taken that and flipped it on its head for the defensive side. So he knows when the offense is trying to get certain blocks on certain players, or he knows when the offense is trying to scheme players open or get certain spacing going. And he's taken those rules and manipulated them in a way to where it actually gives the defense an advantage, whereas opposed to the offense. So this was bound to happen, in my opinion. We've seen the offensive explosion over the past, decade, I want to say, with Sean McVay, Andy Reid. I mean, Andy Reid obviously has been a head coach for a long time, but his success of his offense since he got Mahomes, Kyle Shanahan, Matt LaFleur, Shane Steichen. I mean, all these guys who have been these bright, young, offensive-minded head coaches. It was only a matter of time before the pendulum swung back the other way, and defensive head coaches found a way to counteract what these offenses were doing. And the way that Jed York saw Kyle Shanahan with the Falcons beat the hell out of Seattle Seahawks in the playoffs and said, "Give me him. I want him." Well, I'm forgetting the owner's name in Seattle, and their John Schneider, their GM, saw Mike McDonald do that to the Niners when he was with Baltimore, and he said, "I want that. The Niners are the head of this division. That's the guy that I want. Come here." And it was a hell of a hire. We talked about it on the preview show for the playoffs, or maybe it was even for the 1 seed in week 18, how this is all about what he was hired for. It's time to put up or shut up. It's for the number 1 seed or for the playoffs. I forget when we talked about it. And is it going to work out for them? Is he here to do what he was brought here to do? And fuck, was he? Because he gave it to Kyle Shanahan pause. I mean, he absolutely whooped this team. And you can make the argument they were fully healthy, the 49ers weren't. That's something Kyle Shanahan has to figure out, because they haven't been fully healthy just about any year he's been here. So at some point, that's just who you are, right? Like if you never wash your ass and you stink, and you go on a date and you're like, "Well, I didn't wash my ass tonight." It's like, well, you never washed your ass, dude. Like, you've been fucking stinking for 6 years. Like, what does it matter? Tonight, all of a sudden, you want to say, "Well, give me a caveat." It doesn't fucking matter. So I just thought it was really interesting to see that video. If I could find it, I'll play it, of Mike McDonald talking about how he takes the offense's rules and basically uses them against them to the defense's advantage.
Well, while you look for that video, Matt and I, let's handle these super chats that came in. I saw a couple more come in here.
Yeah.
This one on the screen right now is from Nigel Crane, 49ers. Thanks for the super chat. He says, great shows this season, fellas. What player production or lack of was a surprise to you this season? Mine was Brian Robinson. So much hype when we got him. Since I'm already on the screen, I'll go first. I wasn't disappointed in his production I was more so disappointed in how often they used him or didn't use him. The Niners have this thing, like with Christian McCaffrey here, the backup always seems to average close to 4.5+ yards a carry. And they just don't seem to care. It's like it has to be Christian McCaffrey no matter what. When it comes to who I was disappointed in offensive production, well, I won't take Matt's. I think I know who Matt's is going to be. I'm probably offensive production. I will say it was probably Brock Purdy, and it's not his fault. I think they didn't give him enough weapons, right? I expected so much more from the passing game, especially when the run game was just this bad. Christian McCaffrey didn't have a 100-yard game until week 16 or some shit like that, right? So if you're telling me that Christian McCaffrey can't get off the field for Brian Robinson, and Christian McCaffrey is struggling so long, why wasn't Brock Purdy throwing for 4,900 yards? Like, why wasn't he, you know what I mean? You got an extra game this and now, like, why wasn't his offensive production more? And again, I'm not blaming him. I'm blaming the system, and I'm blaming the options he had and the weapons he had. This roster is nowhere near where we need it to be. And so that's where my disappointment comes in.
Yeah. If you're surprised that Brian Robinson didn't produce as much, then you don't realize how much of a hard ass it is to get Christian McCaffrey off the field and how much Kyle Shanahan wants to keep him out there. I thought that Brian Robinson was going to fill the same role that all the other backups have. You get like 4 or 5 carries a game, and that's about it. You know, when Christian McCaffrey's like, I'm tired, that's when you get it. In terms of Brock Purdy, my only pushback is that he did miss like 9 games. So, you know,
that's true. But
again,
it was the quarterbacks all together, even when you add up all the yards that we threw for.
Yeah. I mean, he had 2,100 yards and 20 touchdowns.
Mac led the league in passing when he was starting per yards per game, what it's worth.
So I would imagine if we added up both quarterback stats together, it would probably equal a pretty damn good season.
I'll look that up really quick while Zach gives his disappointments.
I gotta give. No. My biggest disappointment, and I know everybody expects me to say Ricky Pearsall. It's not going to be Ricky Pearsall. It's going to be Brandon Ayuk. I've never seen somebody self-sabotage after getting such a big payday for no fucking reason. We're 28 minutes in. For no fucking reason at all. I don't know if it's a mental health issue. I don't know if he decided he doesn't love football during his rehab. He's like, this shit ain't worth it. I don't know. But the fact that the 49ers paid dude, and, you know, it's unfortunate that he got injured, but that he just decided, I'm not going to meet with your team doctors. I'm not going to do the things that I'm contractually obligated to do. I'm going to give up all my guarantees, not put a fight up with the NFLPA to try to get some of my guarantees back. I'm just going to say, fuck it. And then put out a video of you speeding past Levi Stadium and whatever else he was doing. It's just like, again, you go back to 2023 and you just watch him put on a route running clinic. He's just tearing people up left and right. And you're just like, this should have been wide receiver 1. This should have been wide receiver 1. And from what it sounded like to me is that he just didn't play ball right off rip. I would imagine that had he met with the team doctors, would have been ready to go earlier in the season than people think. And it just never materialized. So for me, that's like the biggest disappointment, because we got a guy that essentially quit on the team for no good reason other than, I don't know, a bug crawled up his ass or something. But I'll never get somebody. He fumbled what? $100 million? Because like they'll just hold on to his rights.
Yep.
Crazy.
Which is weird, because you hear, I was with you all the way up to the very last part. They hold on to his rights. John Lynch went right to the podium and was like, it's fair to say we've seen him take his last snap as a 49er. What does that mean, though?
But what I'm saying is, if I was the team, this is just me personally. If I was the team, I'd have been like, if you don't come and show up, if you don't want, then you're not fucking playing football.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Cool. You don't have to show up, but we're not paying you. You're already in breach of your contract, but we're not gonna.
No, you can not non-report or whatever. Did not report.
Yeah, he's a non-report. Yeah.
I think that you can take
he's
John
in
Lynch's
breach of his
words,
contract.
and take that as he'll never play another down for the 49ers, but he's still
But that
on the
doesn't
team.
mean but that doesn't mean he's going to play it down for anybody else
Right.
either.
Exactly.
Because if you cut him, you're doing him a favor. You're doing exactly what he wants to do.
Yeah.
What I would do is just hold on to him, and then because he didn't report, you don't have to pay him, and he doesn't count against your cap.
I'll tell you what, if John Lynch does that, he will earn a lot of respect that I lost for him this season. I'm telling you now. He will earn a lot of respect from me if he does that. I just don't think that church.
I don't know if it'll just be John, though. I think it's going to be Jed and Parag that really are like, no, fuck this guy.
What? Yeah.
I don't think Jed and Parag wanted to pay him to begin with.
I mean, clearly they didn't. Kyle Shanahan, the reporting was the one that ran down, and
I was the one that ran down and trading him to Pittsburgh.
And rightfully so. He's a very good fucking wide receiver.
Well, but if we don't know what the compensation was. If it was a swap for George Pickens, I mean, fair trade, bro.
The reporting I saw at the time was all based on rumors, but it was not even a receiver in return. It was like a defensive player, if I remember correctly, in a pick. But who knows, right? It's all fucking rumors.
Yeah, but hindsight being what it is, that'd be much more useful to
of course,
the 49ers than
of
Brandon
course.
Ayuk just not fucking showing
I was
up,
thinking
right?
about the reports that they wanted to trade him or Devontae Adams straight up. And I remember at the time we were like, that's good, but Devontae Adams is older, Ayuk's younger. We wouldn't want that. Imagine having Devontae Adams this year instead of a
It wouldn't have made a difference. We need speed. I'm sorry.
It would have been better than nothing.
The crazy thing is that I don't think, again, I believe Kyle when he says, like, I had no idea what happened. We were talking, and then one day we just weren't.
Yeah.
I think to this day, Kyle Shanahan would love to have him in the building. I think he understands the business side of it, that's not going to happen.
Right. What's frustrating, too, with Brandon Ayuk, and then I'll give my player on this question, is I literally remember sitting here doing a show after he got extended, and my quote was something along the lines of, the best thing about Brandon Ayuk is that his playing style is easily repeatable. You know, like the way he runs his routes, it wasn't a Deebo Samuel type production where we knew almost for a fact that he was never going to get close to that production afterwards. We didn't think he'd fall off that big of a cliff that quickly, but I remember saying here, Brandon Ayuk, that type of production is consistent. He could do that year in and year out. He's a savvy route runner. He could be a Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams didn't have a couple good years then fall off. He's been great for over a decade or damn near a decade now, you know. Mm-hmm. But Brandon Ayuk decided to get paid. He got hurt, but he didn't play well up until that point anyway, and then went MIA on the team. Which is fucking weird because you guys remember the reporting that he was in meetings and he was taking on coaching duties and he was stepping up and showing the young. He was
helping the DBs.
I think we talked about our theory was that he was trying to get the fucking guaranteed money back. And when the Niners said fuck off, he fucked off. He said, all right, then I'll see you guys. And that was it. My answer for this, and then I'll toss it to you, Mike. I know you want to say something. Demarcus Robinson. You went with B-Rob, Nigel. I'm going with D-Rob. Because I thought when they signed him, that was going to be the 49ers wide receiver 2. I thought he was good for 350 to 500 yards in this offense. I thought he was going to be a good, savvy route runner. Not necessarily a speed guy, but veteran presence, like a more polished Chris Conley. And we saw it in the Eagles game. Like, he is capable of putting up numbers. He had a good game against the Colts, too. But for some reason, they just didn't use him. Like, for whatever reason, he only got like 2 targets for the first like 6-7 games. I don't really know what it is, but that's my option. That's my answer. Excuse me. Mike, to the dad.
No, I was just gonna say, like you were talking about, like how I was gonna say duplicable. I don't know if that's the word, but like how repeatable Brandon Ayuk's production was. Like, we were sitting here saying, like, this guy is on par with like guys like Young. You know what I mean? Like Chase. Like, when it comes to like reception for reception, he's up there. He just didn't get the targets in this offense. And we were so ready for him to go ahead and take over that mantle as the number one guy. Like, you know, you put a Ricky Pearsall across from him and it opens things up for both of them, right? Like, we were so excited for it and we just never fucking got there. We never got there. And so I was going to go with Brandon Ayuk, but I thought Matt was going to do it. So I should have let Matt go first. Yeah, he definitely would have been my guy. Fucking idiot.
Yeah.
All right.
It's really unfortunate.
So I don't know if you want to do the video now.
Yeah. I'll do it real quick,
chats?
and then we'll get back to super chats. This is Mike McDonald. The video I was talking about. It's only like a minute.
I think of it as two. So to me, is I would draw up my front against duo and build, and then draw in how they're going to block it against the front that I'm going to be in the most. And now I want to take blocks that they're going to have, and I want to move them. So the guys that's getting the single block, I want to wipe those blocks. So a lot of times I'm moving into the duo, and I can wipe the center's block, so I can edge pressure away from where the tight end is a lot. Or I want to create space in the C gap, and I can try to penetrate it there. But anytime we're looking at like early down run pressures, it's all about the blocks that you're going to get, and then how you can move and manipulate those blocks to try to get someone either running free or to attack those run schemes.
I thought that was just interesting because I've never really seen the coaches talk about it that way, to where he's predicting what the offense is going to do and then having an answer. It's very Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay-esque, and to where you are so aware. I mean, you guys remember that clip years ago? Kyle Shanahan goes to the ref and says, they're going to hold George Kittle right here. Look. And then they did. Like, that's kind of what it reminded me of. He's just very, he's a fucking good coach, and I hate it. It pisses me off, but I respect it. It's like an anger man where it's like, I hate how much I respect you, or whatever the fuck it is, you know?
You think you're mad? I just watched Sam Darnold throw for 346 and 3 tutties in an NFC championship game. Now I got to say that fucking Cinderella's glass slipper fits, and he's not a fucking pumpkin anymore.
Yeah. Well,
biggest game of his career.
I was gonna say,
he has his best game of his fucking career. Like
he's saving it for the
lit
Super
them
Bowl,
up, man.
He's saving it for the Super Bowl. Wouldn't that just be the biggest piss your pants moment?
Oh my god,
that's when he's gonna melt down. He's giving the ultimate pump and dump to the Seahawks.
It's the only it's the only hope that I have left, man.
The only thing I'll say is he played against two very familiar opponents in the Rams and the Niners. Seahawks and Patriots, that's not a common opponent. Mike Vrabel, he's going to have those boys ready to play. So that's my only hope. Uncommon opponent. But looking back on this, the Ravens were idiotic for letting McDonald out the door, only to fire Harbaugh a year later. They should have just gotten ahead of it, kept him. Okay, next super chat. Let's see. Our guy Sean. Sean says, you guys are wrong. We are only one player, one head coach, and one GM away from mediocre. I don't care if Kyle would get poached when fired. Bye. Salo is mediocre. Freaking soft serve D. So predictable.
Bro, see, here we go with the fire Kyle Shanahan. You realize that we were the 49 IRs this year, and the motherfucker got us to 12 wins.
13 if you count the Eagles, yeah.
I do
12 wins in the regular
where,
season, and I mean,
Mike.
I was gonna say no. I do understand where Sean is coming from, right? So, like, your team straight up didn't show up in the biggest game of the year. I understand what we did against Philly, right? And I will go out and say this, and I think we all agree, we overachieved based off of the amount of injuries and all that stuff. I do think that the Niners overachieved, and I do think that our record was indicative of the schedule, right? So do they balance themselves out, right? Did we overachieve? Yes. But was the schedule easy? Also, yes, right? Most of our losses were against playoff teams, right? So, like, it's like, did we beat anyone good this year, right? So let's wipe that off really quick. Did we overachieve, and did we have an easy schedule? They neutralize each other. What'd you do against a team 2 out of 3 weeks? You got smoked. A division opponent. Forget that it happened to be 2 out of 3 weeks. It was a division opponent. You just got dog walked by them 2 weeks before you played them again, and you came out with, it looked like the same exact game plan, and they looked less prepared than they did the first time. Even your special teams unit took a step back. So I do understand people questioning or being upset with Kyle Shanahan and his head coaching style, or even his offensive scheming, right? Like, you had no answer for the pressure that they were putting on Brock Purdy, and I don't blame him for his performance in that game. No one, I don't care who your quarterback was, no one was going to be able to do anything in that game, right? He started out early, and it seemed like Kyle knew, hey, they're going to get pressure on you early, you're going to have to move around a lot, right? That whole first half, he was moving as soon as they snapped the ball. He never tried to stand still. And then finally was like, all right, it looks like they're giving you some space up the middle. Maybe you can stand still a little bit. They're coming hard off the edges. The one time he stood still, it was a sack fumble, right? Like, it just – there was no answer for what they were bringing to us, and we just looked like, oh, well, we're just here because we made it here, and at least we did this. I understand people being upset with Kyle Shanahan. Now, I'm not going to say that he should be fired, but if he doesn't change a lot of his philosophy and a lot of his coaching staff, we're going to be coming out and running the same exact shit again, guys. I hate to say it. They don't value speed at any of the skill position. They don't value athletic freaks at any of the skill position. This guy is Chip Kelly, but a better play caller. Like, hear me out. I know.
I can't hear you out. I can't hear you out when he's got 2 Super Bowl appearances and like 4 NFC Championship game appearances. No, you can't put him in the same breath as Chip Kelly, man. You can't do that. Kelly,
I say it in this sense. Chip Kelly thought that his scheme was better than the talent. And what good head coaches realize is that they need talent to make their scheme work. I don't think that Kyle Shanahan is quite there yet.
Hold up, though. Is it because they didn't have talent, or is it because all their talent was injured or just didn't show up? Because we're not that far removed from 23 when you'd be like, oh, they have fucking a ton of... The whole knock on Brock Purdy in 23 was that he had so much help that he was shit.
For sure. Absolutely.
So you can't say 2 years later when they're injured left and right, you got a guy that doesn't show up, you got the PCL guy, you got 2 starting quarterbacks, offensive line that's, all this stuff, and then say like, oh, it's the scheme, it's not the play. Like,
okay.
Because they've tried to draft speed and they're fucking hurt. If you want to get after them about the way they practice or how they condition guys, by all means, I think that's fair.
But
it's not like they're not trying to draft speed. They just like Ricky Pearsall's a 4-4 guy. You know what I mean?
Right. Watkins is a 4-2-3, 2-7,
right.
2-8 guy.
Jacob Cowing.
They draft them, but they don't fucking use them. So what difference does it make if they're on the roster? That's the shit that's frustrating.
Every single one of them has gotten injured.
Cowing was healthy the last 4 weeks. What? Okay,
Cowing was injured his rookie year. He was injured again this year. Watkins was injured his rookie year. Pearsall got shot his rookie year.
This year. I'm talking about this year. I'm not talking about the rookie year anymore.
Watkins was a rookie this year.
He was
injured for all of camp. He was injured for all of camp.
He was a healthy scratch for how many games at the end of the game? Like he just didn't get involved at all.
Because he missed all the training camp, and you need to be able to run. We all know that this offense.
What starters on the offensive side of the ball were we missing that you think would have made an impact on the offense in the divisional round? That's all I'm asking.
What I'm saying is Brandon Ayuk. That's a big one. George Kittle.
Healthy
that's a
Ricky
big one.
Kittle would not have made a difference in that game.
I disagree. I wholly disagree.
There is nothing Kittle could have done in that game. They surrounded the middle of the field. They surrounded the middle of the field, and they blew up double teams and all that shit. Their defensive line was feasting on the 49ers. Double teams, triple teams. It didn't make a difference. Kittle wasn't.
When were Kittle and Pearsall ever healthy together at the same time? Because those two together make a difference. Because you got Ricky Pearsall that can run quick stuff to the outside, and then you free up the stuff underneath for George Kittle. Ricky Pearsall's biggest gains came to the sideline, which is where Mike McDonald's defense was not going against Brock Purdy.
Right, because they didn't think he was going to get there.
Yeah, right.
He was giving them
if you have a healthy Ricky Pearsall and a healthy George Kittle, and then you have Christian McCaffrey as an outlet, you don't think that makes a difference? I think it does, because none of them were healthy during the last 2 Seattle. Like, they weren't healthy altogether in the last 2 Seattle games. It was either Pearsall's out there and Kittle's not, or Kittle was out there and Pearsall wasn't. And when Pearsall was out there in the playoff game, he hadn't played in 2 weeks because the PCL thing has been all fucking season.
And that sounds good. And I agree with a lot of what you're saying with that statement, right? Our offensive line has no chance of doing anything good against that Seattle defensive front. I'm sorry. I don't care what stars you have out there. You could have all pros at every what's the word I'm looking for? Skill position player. You can have them all out there. If your quarterback doesn't have more than 2 seconds, there's nothing they can do.
But
our offensive line was going to get chewed.
But we
couldn't run the ball. What do you mean he did? No, we didn't.
His time to throw in that game was like 3.5 seconds.
And there was nowhere to go
because none of the players were healthy.
All right. I don't want to keep going in circles. I do hear what you're saying. Purdy was under a lot of duress that entire game. Time to throw does not mean clean pocket. That was a lot of him. I said it. The whole first half, they moved him the whole first half. They generated time to throw, but he needed somebody on that half of the field that he was working towards to get open. So I do get what you're saying. If he had somebody over there that could run a route, he probably would have been able to complete some passes.
And you can't just throw the wide receivers. You can't just throw the rookie wide receivers out there because the offense is complicated. And we saw it in this game. There's a play going around, right, where Pearsall and Jennings run into each other on a route.
Fucking
And,
Oh my God, the fucking
that's
Three Stooges.
By the way, Jennings is what, a 5-year vet in this offense?
Come on,
And
bro.
Ricky Pearsall hadn't played. So Ricky
Come on,
Pearsall
bro.
is a second-year guy in this. So you want Jordan Watkins, who hasn't played at all. Here we go. They just run into each other.
Look at the guys at the bottom of the screen. For those of you who don't know, look at the bottom of the screen. Look at the receivers. Pearsall stops.
Or maybe it was okay. It was Robinson. It was Robinson. Let me amend. I think that's Robinson at the bottom because JJ is up top in the middle. But okay, so that even further underlines the point that inexperience in this offense leads to shit like this.
But also look at the time. Look at the time to throw. They snap the ball in the offensive line.
When he gets to his back foot here,
that ball's supposed to be out.
Ball's supposed to be out. It's supposed to be a rub. It's supposed to be like a natural pick route
right there,
right here. And Robinson's supposed to cut underneath, and Pearsall takes 29 out of the play, and that's where Brock Purdy is staring at that slant. He wants to throw that slant, but they ran.
And that is not Brock's fault. That is not.
No, it's not Brock's fault. But I'm also saying it's also not Shanahan's fault. That play should have worked, but the execution was dog shit. And you can't run rookies out there if they're not going to execute. The biggest problems I've seen with Shanahan's offense this year has been execution errors. People not running the right routes. They're rounding off their routes. They're doing their shit. That's not necessary. Mike, I think we'll get to agreement on this. I don't think that's as much on Kyle Shanahan as it is on Leonard Hankerson.
Position coaches.
It's Hankerson's responsibility to make sure that they're running the routes the right way. Shanahan's already given you the blueprint. All you got to do is
giving you the fucking plays. Now execute.
He's giving you the menu. Cook the fucking meal.
Bro, come on, man. Now we talking.
All right,
let's finish up these super chats so we can get to it.
Yeah. Blackbeard 805. Trade Mac, Demo, and CMC. Rebuild the trenches. Dare I say, and I mean this with the most respect, CMC's the best value you're going to get for him is here. I think he's more valuable to this team than whatever draft pick maybe a fourth, a fifth.
Value.
A running back at his age with his usage, teams are smarter than that.
Isn't he?
Didn't he have like 500 touches this year?
Yeah.
But he's only like 28, right? He's not done. I mean,
29. I think he'll be 30 by the time the season starts.
Yeah.
Is he that old? Okay.
Just coming off a season of last year bilateral Achilles tendonitis or whatever the fuck it was. It's like
he'll be 30 on June 7th.
I want you guys to do yourselves a favor and not look up what happened to the running backs that had over 450 touches in a season the following year, because the only one that was even remotely good was Saquon Barkley this year compared to last year. All the other ones fell off the map. So
and even Philly fans were disappointed with they called it his usage, but
I think we'd have to check in on Derrick Henry because I'm pretty sure that he had a 2,000-yard season and then came back and had a really good season after that. He didn't have a good season this year, but I think he's like 33.
But what was the number of touches?
I don't know if he had over 450 touches. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think that's what Zach's point
it's
was.
The usage.
Let's see.
He'll get it pulled up there.
Yeah, he was right around 400 a couple of times, but never over 450.
I don't want to take, I saw this on ESPN, so I'm not taking credit for it, but they had I think it was like Saquon, Christian McCaffrey, DeMarco Murray, and I'm forgetting LaDainian Tomlinson, I want to say maybe. And then all of them besides Saquon, and obviously Christian hasn't gotten it next year yet. It was not pretty the following year. So I would just argue that the other two, Blackbeard, maybe you have an argument for. Obviously, Mac Jones is the biggest trade piece for the 49ers right now.
But if a team, let's ask this question. If a team was willing to give you a third-round pick right now for Christian McCaffrey, would you guys take it?
Bye.
I think I would, yeah.
So I think that's kind of his point, right? Like we need help in both.
I don't think
trenches.
they would get one though, is my argument.
And I've always subscribed to the philosophy you get out on a player a year early than a year late. So if somebody's going to overpay for Christian McCaffrey, you take that.
Right.
Frees up cap space. You get a draft pick. I just don't think
I would be listening to all things. I'm not mad at this scenario. The only player on here I wouldn't want to trade is Mac Jones. I think that we're gonna need a good backup quarterback every year. Someone
floated out a trade idea, Mac Jones in a third for Drake London, and I was like, dude, if the Falcons are stupid enough to do that, I'd pull the trigger on that today.
Real quick, hear me out. I think we can trade Mac Jones, sign Zach Wilson. He's the next reclamation project for the 49ers. And I think the year after, we'll trade Zach Wilson and we'll sign Justin Fields, and Kyle Shanahan will have reclaimed every quarterback of that draft class into a starting quarterback except for Trey Lance, which is the one that he traded 3 first-round picks to fucking get to begin with. So
And
it's
he
all up
technically
here.
did start in the NFL with the Niners. So, I mean,
With multiple
still say
teams. He was a multiple team starter. 3. Yeah, I just thought that'd be funny. I actually am intrigued by Zach Wilson. I think he still has the talent. Maybe Kyle Shanahan can put that together. I don't know. Okay. Tua Man, the great. What's up, fellas? Would you want to trade up to draft Mawigoa from Miami? I'm probably butchering that. To be heir to Trent and play him at left guard until Trent retires.
I think that's really easier said than done to just be like, hey, you're going to be our left tackle from the future, but until that point, you're going to play left guard. I don't think that that's really fair to the player on an NFL level, because let's be real, college is not developing any type of fucking player. They're not developing quarterbacks. They're definitely not developing O-line. O-linemen are some of the most raw coming out of college now, and you're asking him to switch position, and then once he gets good at it, you're like, all right, fuck it, go back outside.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's really realistic.
I'm not mad at this idea. I think the Niners too often will go out and get a left tackle and say, hey, we're just going to move you to right. I feel like if you want a left tackle, draft the fucking left tackle, right? Now, the thing is, are you going to let him sit? If you do trade up to get a guy like this, I would be okay with letting him sit a year. Not so much forcing him to play guard, though. That's the part I disagree with there, is trying to cross-train them. The Niners get in their own way trying to make every player interchangeable. It doesn't make sense, and sometimes you outsmart yourselves. I would get him in and say, hey, you'll be the backup left tackle or left guard. I'm not mad at that, saying you might have to be the backup, and give him some practice snaps and all that stuff. You know, you're a rookie, so you're going to play all over the place. All rookies do that. All rookies do that. No one comes in as a rookie except like very high draft picks, and then they start right away. If you're not a starter, you're going to learn to be interchangeable, and they're going to call your number. So I'm actually not mad at this Tua man. I wouldn't be opposed to it.
If I'm drafting this kid from Miami and he's the left tackle of the future, thanks for your service, Trent. We're going to flip you for assets. I mean, at that point,
I'm not mad at that take at all. Yeah.
Listen, it took what, a third of the season for Trent Williams to start even remotely looking like how he used to look, and even then, it wasn't to the levels that he was before. Now you got an extra year. What's that decline going to look like next year? How long is it going to take him next year to get into shape?
And that's the issue, is that
he's not going to get any healthier. He's not going to get any younger. He's not going to get any better.
They saw Trent getting better at the end of the year, and were like, oh, maybe he's got something left in the tank, right? They're like, oh, Trent, are you going to retire? I'm coming back. And everyone's all excited, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, I remember how rough the start of the year was.
Mm-hmm.
I remember how rough the start of the year was. Like, are you sure you want to come back? And the fact that he keeps coming back and saying that, and I'm sure that he's saying it to the GM, I'm sure he's saying it to Kyle, they're like, oh, we're good on left tackle for one more year. No, motherfuckers, get someone and groom them in your goddamn system. They refuse to do it, bro.
And
they
this
refuse
is going
to do it.
We're going to touch on all the position stuff, but this is going to be like my one major take. Mike, I know you got a lot on the plate. I've got like one major thing that I think would be the shakeup that the team needs to get out of its doldrums, to be honest. But
yeah,
I'll
let you guys go first. I got no problem with that.
Let's get through these super chats so we can get to it.
Yeah,
that many more. All right, my bad.
Let's see.
Tua man, Rodney's
From
first
Rodney,
one also.
do y'all think a team will want Ayuk since he quit? That's a good question. I mean, I think there
not
will
at the
be
money that he got.
No, they'd have to release him, and then maybe a team will sign him for like 1 year, $4 or $5 million. But yeah, I don't think there's too many teams that are going to come calling. Maybe Adam Peters thinks, oh, really? Let's hear it.
I completely disagree with you guys. The talent is the talent. It's there. If
coming off that horrific injury.
If he can pass a physical, right, they're going to run him. They're going to put him through the gamut before they sign anything. Right? The talent is a talent. It's here. It's how he runs his routes that makes him valuable, Zach. I think that was your whole purpose of it all, right? It's not about he's this physical monster. He's not Calvin Johnson or anything like that, right? He's not this athletic freak. It's just consistent running, consistently getting open, and dependable hands, right? That's not going to change. None of that's going to change. Speed might come off a little bit, but that route tree is what got him open, and that's not going to change. He might be a tad bit slower. Hear me out, though. And Combine that with all the guarantees were voided. So now you're picking him up without guarantees. That's the key to a trade. You don't have any guarantees anymore. So now it's just the base salaries. That's it. His base salaries, I can pull it up if you guys want me to. Teams are going to call.
We don't have enough time.
Teams are going to call because his base salaries aren't that high. Teams are going to call. The guarantees are gone.
I think they're going to
can
release.
definitely go somewhere.
It would only be
if he
they
goes
released.
anywhere, it would be release. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's because I don't think, Mike, that's where I disagree with you. Teams aren't going to call because there's only one of two ways that it's going to go.
We fucking signed the guy that quit on his team, Campbell, the fucking linebacker. We did it.
He didn't.
We
He
did
quit
it.
on us. What
He
team
quit
did
on us,
quit
not on the. Not
He
on the
quit on
Packers.
Green Bay, didn't he?
No. He finished his contract with them and left.
Yeah.
He quit on the
And
Niners.
also,
Yeah,
he
you're
was
right.
he
You
was a
guys are
free
right.
agent signing. Here's the thing: everybody knows how this is going to go. Either the 49ers are going to be petty and hold him under contract, or they're going to release him. And I'm not trading for somebody I know is going to be on the is either going to be on the free agent market or not available at all.
Wait, we just said that. Wait, time out. We just said that John Lynch would be the man again if he didn't release him. Fuck you, play.
That's what I'm saying.
We gotta.
Yeah,
So pick a
That's
side.
one of
So which
two
one is it gonna be?
scenarios.
But that's the only two scenarios. And I'm not going to give the 49ers an out. I'm going to make them fucking be super petty with this dude.
Okay, fine. Clip this. Clip it. If John Lynch puts his balls on the table and says Brandon Ayuk is not going anywhere, keep his ass here and let teams call for him. If Brandon still refuses to come in, keep him here. Do not release Brandon Ayuk. I don't care how bad it looks on you. I don't give a shit what people think about it. John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, do not let Brandon Ayuk walk for nothing. The stress that you guys went through just to get that contract done is worth him staying here and owning his rights. Don't let Brandon Ayuk walk out this building. I don't give a shit if he never plays another snap for the 49ers. You get something in return. I don't give a fuck if it's a future 7th round pick. You get something in return for the headache you guys went through.
They're not going to get nothing because nobody's going to call.
All right, next super chat. To a man the great second. Not mad at how Sean feels, but I don't think they need to be gone. But I think Jed needs to restructure the power scheme. Seems like Kyle's got a little too much power in the building.
More on that in a minute.
To a man the third one.
We'll put that comment up when we start responding to it. So I don't want you to think that we're ignoring it.
Kyle definitely needs to cough up play calling though. That's Kyle Shanahan's main value to this team, so I disagree strongly.
Yeah.
Is his play calling.
Again, it's not the plays, it's the execution. Yeah. And that comes down to nobody being healthy enough to fucking practice for the whole season and actually, learn the fucking plays right.
And if you
turns out practice matters, guys.
and if you take Kyle at his word, Kyle and Kubiak at their word, it's Kubiak, right? That's our offensive coordinator. If you take them at their word, Kubiak does call plays during game. Not all the plays, but he does have
He'll make
input on the plays that are
suggestions.
called.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And Kyle does listen to him. So I don't think that Kyle needs to give up play calling. The play design, play calling. When Kyle gets in a rhythm, you can fucking see it. I mean, he goes crazy when he's on. When Kyle's on, he's all the way on. So I don't know if I agree with this. I'm sorry. But thanks for the super chat, though.
Last super chat from Sean. Lynch drafts shit. Kyle doesn't change. Matt equals problem.
No, it was like, let me read it. He doesn't use punctuation. Lynch draft shit. Kyle doesn't change, Matt. That's the problem. Go ahead, Matt.
But I don't think that that's true that Kyle doesn't change. I think that Kyle's changed his scheme a bunch.
I do.
There's stuff that they used to do that they don't do anymore.
Yeah,
he changes that shit every year.
They're not a run-first team anymore.
You guys are confusing process with results.
Yes.
Okay. You didn't get the results you wanted, but that doesn't mean the process was bad. Again, they had who the fuck was out there for them to run plays with? Juwan Jennings if Juwan Jennings is your best receiver, we said this last year. If Juwan Jennings is your best receiver, you got a fucking problem. And he wasn't even their best receiver. Christian McCaffrey was their best receiver. Christian McCaffrey had almost 100 catches, guys.
Which, by the way, is even worse than Juwan Jennings being your best receiver. That just tells you how bad the wide receiving core was. Like that, just think about that for a second. We said that if Juwan Jennings is your number one option, we're fucked. That was on par with if Trent Taylor makes this roster, we're screwed. That just tells you how poor the rest of the wide receivers are. the fact that we said Juwan Jennings being your number one was a problem, and that was coming off of a 900 and however many yard season, he was even worse than that. We had to depend on a fucking running back to be our top receiving guy. Like, that's the problem. So, Sean, as much love and respect as we have for you, man, I think we disagree here, bro. I think we disagree here. Now, I do agree that Lynch might draft some shit.
McCaffrey was 6th in the league in receptions. He had 102 catches this year. Your running back had 102 catches.
Yeah. Insane.
That's a lot of receptions, guys. I don't think you guys understand how many receptions that is.
The next highest running back was Bijan Robinson, who had 79 catches for running backs.
That's insane.
That's a third more. That's 30% more catches. That's untenable, and it means that you have no fucking skill position players.
Also, I just want to say Lynch gets a lot of shit for those 2 draft class. I want to say it was 22 and 23, right? Or maybe 23 and 24. No, I think it was 22, 23. The only one where that basically the only salvageable player was Brock Purdy. But for some reason, it's never Adam Peters or I'm forgetting the guy who ended up going to Tennessee who got fired, that GM too.
Oh, Rand Carthon.
Rand Carthon, who were these high-ranking members of the 49ers front office who got GM jobs out of the 49ers draft results. Because since both of them have been gone, the Niners have put together like 2 solid draft classes. At least we're only 2 years out, right? They're much better looking than.
I feel like the further we get away from them, the worse they look, though.
I mean, maybe, but they look much better than the previous 2.
Like last year's draft class looked really bad this year. All of them.
Well, it hurts when Guerrero can't sniff the field. Ricky Pearsall got injured as hell. I thought Renardo Rain played well. He was also injured.
Ricky Pearsall, but like, why can't Guerrero see the field? That's my thing. Like, what did he do?
I thought he was good. Thought he was fine last year, but he apparently fumbles too much for Shanahan.
He can't block, he can't catch, and he fumbles.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
I'm going to get to that. I'm going to tell you guys what the problem is. We'll get there. I promise you guys we're going to get there.
I also think that yeah.
I think the drafting has gotten better. Is my point.
Yeah.
So to Zach's point, really quick. Let me just say, I'm sorry, Matt. I understand thinking both ways. The problem is being forced to use guys versus sprinkling them in. The Niners don't want to sprinkle anybody in, and they only use drafted players when they absolutely have to. That's why we don't develop players. I can't tell you a single player drafted by this team, other than Brock Purdy, other than Brandon Ayuk. I'm not even going to say George Kittle. I won't even say George Kittle, that has improved since the day they walked on the field.
George Kittle's definitely improved. Do you remember his rookie year?
Yeah.
No, hear me out. George Kittle wasn't targeted a ton. I think that we realized, oh shit, this guy can actually catch passes, and actually run after the catch. I don't think that it was an improvement. I think it was just a lack of before he came here, and then they realized he can do it. I don't know that George Kittle improved, and I think George Kittle is the best player on the 49ers offense. So it's not a knock on him.
I don't buy it.
I am talking about development. George Kittle was an A+ blocker from the day that we drafted him, and he had this much of a resume with pass catching. They realized, oh shit, he can actually catch passes, and he can do something with the ball in his hands afterwards if we get him in space. I don't think that's development. I think that's just realizing an untapped potential. I'm talking about speed. I'm talking about route running. I'm talking about everything that you can improve on physically. No one improves on this roster. Nick Bosa has not improved. Nick Bosa's been a finished product since we got him here, and he has not gotten.
Nick Bosa definitely has been a finished product since we got him.
Yes.
100%.
Fred Warner. You guys are all fascinated with Fred Warner's ability to dissect plays. That's because he was a fucking safety. That's what he got paid to
Fred
do.
Warner's
they're impressed with Fred Warner's speed.
Fred Warner was asked when he got here.
No.
Come on.
Hear me out. If you want to credit the Niners for moving him.
I'm not going to hear you out on Fred Warner, bro. I can't.
If you want to credit the Niners for moving him from safety to linebacker, I'll give you that. But I'm talking about improving on his skill set. Fred Warner was naturally fast, and he was naturally good at diagnosing plays.
No, fuck that.
But
dude,
that doesn't turn you into the best linebacker
fast
in the league.
You can't say fast, dude. Plenty of people are fast, and they're not good players.
D. Winters is fast.
Doesn't make right.
What did Fred Warner improve on?
Player. What do you mean? He went from playing a completely different position to being the best player at his new position in the league. If
That's
not
realizing that a player was misused. I'm giving them credit. I'm giving them credit for moving him.
And then once he got there, they had to develop him because he'd never played fucking linebacker before.
Oh, so learning the playbook. Okay,
He has to learn how to shoot the gap on running plays. He has to learn how to blitz as a linebacker.
He has to learn how
to
wear
cover
the green
as
dot,
a linebacker.
call out
safeties
plays.
blitz. Safeties blitz, safeties cover. Stop it.
Yeah,
like
but from a completely different area.
It's like
on the
saying
field.
Receivers catch passes, so you could pretty much be a tight
Right.
end.
Oh, right.
yes,
It's two different
they
things.
tried that too. You move big wide receivers to the tight end position because they're too slow.
Who did they try that
Bro,
with?
Come on.
okay.
Diamador Lenore went from a 5th round pick to being like the best corner on the team until this year.
And you know why Diamador Lenore improved that 1 year?
Oh Lord.
Because fucking Steve Wilkes was here. And as soon as they let him go, Diamador Lenore reverted back to the 5th round pick that he became. Like
Diamador Lenore was getting good before Steve Wilkes.
And he was good last year.
No.
He was good last year. He didn't give up a touchdown last year.
Steve Wilkes broke Diamador Lenore to the NFL. I'm telling you guys something. Steve Wilkes broke Diamador Lenore to the NFL.
Was that his second year?
It was 2022. I don't know if it was his second year, his rookie year. Steve Wilkes is the reason Diamador Lenore took steps forward. I'm telling you guys something.
The one player, in your opinion, that did develop, you're crediting to Steve Wilkes specifically.
Because he was a secondary-minded guy. That's what he did. He was a DB specialist. He was not a defensive coordinator. He was a DB specialist.
I get your reasoning. I'm just asking.
And the DBs look good.
Correct.
It was also Jair Brown's best year.
Wait. Where was Steve Wilkes when he developed Diamador Lenore?
He was technically the defensive coordinator.
Here, right?
Yeah, what do you mean?
Oh, so the 49ers developed Diamador Lenore, whether it was
All
Steve
right,
Wilkes or
you
not.
got me. Okay, cool. You found one. That's cool.
Well, no, but like, come on.
What offensive lineman has improved?
What about
what
Mike,
wide receiver has improved?
I know
what
for a
running
fact,
back has improved.
Hear me
we
out,
just got
Mike.
done saying where
I know
was
for
Garindo?
a fact.
Brandon,
You and I both agree that Dre Greenlaw was not Dre Greenlaw day one. When they extended him, the three of us were upset that they extended him over Alshire.
Alshire, yep.
We wanted them to keep Alshire over Greenlaw. He's
he developed.
just as good as anybody in the game right now when healthy.
That's cool. That is true. And so
Eric
you
Armstead.
found three.
Eric
You found
Armstead.
three. They didn't develop Eric Armstead. Eric
Yeah, they
Armstead
did.
was oh, stop it, please.
He was not a
Don't
finished
do that.
product.
Eric Armstead was a fucking monster next to DeForest Buckner at Oregon.
played-
What are you talking about?
Jimmy Ward.
He played end.
In fact, they misused Eric Armstead. They misused him and moved him to edge. He was never supposed to be there. Eric Armstead is a defensive tackle. He should not have been moved to the edge. They misused Eric Armstead. Hufanga was trash here. Even he said, my all-pro nod, I probably didn't earn that one. He was trash here. They did not develop Hufanga. Stop it. Like, what are we talking about, bro?
I think
You guys, of all the picks they've made since they've been here, you guys just named 3 guys that they developed. 3. I mean, come on. You can throw shit at a wall and come up with something better than that. What are we talking about?
They developed Brock Purdy.
I gave you Brock Purdy.
They made Jimmy Garoppolo a fucking serviceable quarterback.
They didn't draft Jimmy Garoppolo. They
doesn't
did not
matter.
Draft Jimmy Garoppolo.
Because you don't draft a player doesn't mean you don't develop them.
Hold on. And Jimmy Garoppolo didn't get better at shit. He was better in its offense. Kyle Shanahan, get the ball out of your hand quickly, and you'll be okay. He masked. Hear me out. He masked Jimmy Garoppolo's deficiencies.
I heard you out, bud. I heard you.
How do you know he didn't improve when he had nothing to go off of?
Because he fucking left and reverted back. He masked his deficiencies. When he left, he went right back to the same shit. Sam Darnold.
That's player development.
Yeah.
That's not development. That's hiding it.
Perfect example. Sam Darnold.
What are we talking about? How many snaps does Sam Darnold take as a 49er quarterback?
Doesn't matter. If you ask Sam,
why does he credit the 49ers?
Kyle Shanahan helped him salvage his career.
You know who Sam Darnold who he credits directly? Brock fucking Purdy. Sam Darnold himself doesn't credit a single coach. He credits Brock Purdy for teaching.
He said Kyle Shanahan. Mike.
Who taught Brock Purdy?
All right, you got it.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold too. That's cool.
We'll do Sam Darnold. Cool. I can keep going all day.
You can't go all day, bro. You're running out of names.
All day.
You're
I
running
can't
out
go
of
all
names.
day.
I'm telling you something.
Mac Jones.
This offense, you guys keep naming quarterbacks that the 49ers see their deficiencies and hide them. That's not development. That is taking away your weaknesses so you're not exposed to the rest of the league. That's
all
not
right.
development.
I feel like there's two issues that I'm having here where either a player, according to Mike, a player comes in good and
Finished,
there's
and
no
they
sort
don't
of
get no
improvements that
coaching
can be made.
whatsoever, or they're shit.
They're
and when
being
you hide
hidden.
their deficiencies, and
those
make
are the
them
two
good,
caveats
those
for
are the
good
two
players
things,
for the
yeah.
49ers. Apparently, Fred Warner
Well, fuck.
came
We
in
should
as an
just-
All-Pro.
You know
George
what?
Kittle
Maybe
came in as an
maybe they should
All-Pro.
tell- Maybe they should tell Brock Purdy to sling it 75 yards downfield, and if they don't, they're not fucking developing him.
Right.
Because he can't do it right now. So if he can't do it ever, that's a failure of the team. Like, what the fuck are we talking about, man?
Kyle Juszczyk wasn't Kyle Juszczyk when he was in Baltimore.
Bullshit. He was the best fullback. Stop it. He was the best fullback in the
Out
league
of
when he was
two?
in Baltimore.
Out of two?
And that's why they went. That's why they went and got him. What are you talking about? He was the
There
highest
were
paid
two
running back
fullbacks.
at the fullback position, bro. What are we talking about? Juice
There
was
were-
juice before he got here. Don't do that. Please don't.
He
do
was
that.
not used the way he's used.
How about Chrissy, thank you. Raheem Mostert.
Yeah. How many
also
teams
wrong.
was Mostert on?
Also wrong.
Mostert
They
was on
finally
like
gave-
8 teams before he got
They
here.
finally gave him a chance to be a ball carrier.
Oh my
The-
god.
And why was that? Oh, that's
So-
right. Due to injuries.
That's the third option.
Also due to injuries.
So either finished product, hiding deficiencies, or he finally got a chance.
Or
he finally got a
other
chance.
teams were too wait,
Yeah.
so the 49ers saw in him talent, and not just him, but Jeff Wilson Jr., Matt Breida, who actually had some success here.
Guerrero last year, I thought was. I mean,
Guerrero
you
last
could argue
year.
he took a step backwards. That's fine, but
Jawan Jennings.
Jawan Jennings, you can't. Mike, you don't think Jawan Jennings? has
Jawan
developed?
Jennings didn't improve shit. He's not faster.
Yes, he
He's
did.
not stronger.
He
He doesn't run
His
better
foot-
routes. He
his
was running the
foot
good
gets
routes
done.
in college.
No, he was
How do you
not.
get
He was-
faster?
No, he was not. He was running dog shit routes. That was the knock on him. And they
He was
made
a
his
7th
feet
round
better.
pick.
Are
His
you
feet got
kidding
way
me?
better between his rookie year and his second year. His footwork got so much better, and that's why he was actually able to get on the field. They cut Jawan Jennings.
Yeah.
They cut him. He didn't even make the 53. They cut him and signed him into the practice squad. And then he became a valuable player for them. What the fuck are you talking about?
It was all due to injury. That's the only reson he got out there.
Oh my
I said that. I said because of opportunity. Raheem
Why are you
Mostert.
saying he didn't get any faster? Mike, you're fast. There's an infinitesimal amount you could maybe get faster.
Right.
You
Tenths
can't-
of a second.
You can't teach speed. Tyreek Hill is Tyreek Hill because he was always going to be Tyreek Hill. You can't teach Jawan Jennings to be Tyreek Hill. You can teach him to improve his short area quickness and run better routes, which is how he got to almost 1,000 yards last year, despite nobody fucking else being healthy around him. He was a
All right.
7th round pick out of Tennessee.
I'm not going to agree with you guys, but I'm not going to continue the argument. If you guys think that this roster has developed players, that's cool.
They have
Good
developed
for
players.
you guys.
Now, have they developed enough players in comparison to other teams? I will say no. But you can't say they have. Your argument was they haven't developed anybody, and that's just patently false.
I think Purdy was the only one you were granting.
That they brought in. Yes.
But I mean,
I feel like
again, whether
we
you
go
bring
out
them
and
in
look for
through the
finished
draft,
products.
whether you bring them in through the draft or you bring them in through free agency, which they did with a couple of these guys.
Did
not
Bryce
for
Huff
nothing-
get better, worse, or stay the same since we brought him in here? Bryce Huff.
Well, that's
Hard to say.
We'll get to that because that position coach
Okay.
needs to go.
All right. Let's talk.
Nobody
Let's-
has
let's-
done
let's-
less with more than Chris Kasarik. That
Come
dude
on.
sucks.
Okay.
He sucks.
Are we here now? Can I do my giveaway before we do this? 'Cause
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So I announced on a show, not on a show, but on a short last night, that I have a original PS5 49ers cover to give away. It's for the front and the back of it, and all
right.
people had to do to qualify was to let me know that they had an original PlayStation 5. Just comment in the chat or in the comments and let me know that they had one. And so these 6 people were the ones that told me that they had it. So I'm going to do a giveaway here. What I'm going to do is, after the show, shoot me an email, nothingbutniners@gmail.com. It's spelled all the way out, nothingbutniners@gmail.com. Send me your address. If you have the original PlayStation 5, I'll send it to you for the winner, okay? So I have the names here, Jesse, Mark, Omar, we have Eddie, we have Selvik, and we have Val. I think that's everybody. All right, so good luck to you guys. We're going to spin this wheel here, and the winner I will ship you guys the covers for the PlayStation 5. It has to be the original. If you have the one with the slit in it, it will not fit. So hopefully, I looked at your comments. You guys said you had it, so here we go. Let's do this giveaway here. Thank you guys for supporting Nothing But Niners all regular season long. I appreciate you guys. So here we go. Oh.
Let's do it. Drum roll.
Boom.
Jesse.
Jesse.
Congratulations.
Here we go. Round of applause for Jesse. You are going to be our grand prize winner. Jesse, shoot me an email. Shoot me an email with your address at nothingbutniners@gmail.com, and we will go from there. All right? We'll go from there. Thank you very much, and I appreciate you guys' time for that.
All right. So we went a little long, but let's get into these off-season changes that we want to see, and I guess we could start with the coaching staff. Who wants to start? Matt, Mike?
Well, let me just jump in here because I'm not going to start with the coaching staff. They need to kick John Lynch upstairs, make him president of whatever. He's a figurehead. He's always been a figurehead. And at this point, he doesn't need to be making picks anyways. Get a real GM in there, a real personnel guy, and let's improve on some of these draft picks. While you're at it, a lot of these drafts and a lot of these decisions with players and not drafting O-line and doing the fucking skill position thing and drafting the running backs over and over and over again, Kyle's dirty fingerprints are all over that shit. Hire a respected GM. He has final say in the draft. Kyle can give his input, but that's all that he's going to have is some input. He's not going to be able to be he seems like he's the final man on picking right now. And something's got to give because the offensive line has been atrocious. We've been saying it's atrocious for years. They can't get guys out there that stay healthy in the offseason. The way that they run practices is killing this team somehow. And everybody wants to blame the substation. And I know the team said they're going to look into it, but all that is it's a way for them an out so that they don't have to address the real issue. They don't draft well, especially at certain positions. John Lynch needs to not be the GM. He's great as a public-facing person for the organization. Great as a PR guy. You can still send him up to the podium if you want him to talk. Let the GM do the actual GMing. If you want to keep him as GM, make sure that you have a co-GM, someone that's respected, that's going to actually be able to push back on Kyle without fear of losing his job, and take the power out of Kyle's hands. Plain and simple. That's where you're going to start. And then, by God, get rid of Chris Kasarik. He's a terrible coach. He's all sizzle and no substance. He's all rah. Yeah, great job. Doing all that shit. We see in the highlights or whatever, but nobody has gotten less out of more than that guy. Discipline. I mean, even the finished product in Bosa, I feel like has underachieved under his expert fucking tutelage. So you got to get his ass out of here, and then you have to restructure the top of the organization, and that needs to be a Jed call. And I know Jed's gone out of his way to not be as hands-on with the organization, but this shit is not going to improve unless they make some real wholesale changes and really tell Kyle because I think part of the reason why Kyle gets so lost sometimes in the middle of the season is he's doing all this personnel shit. Kyle needs to be spending his entire fucking offseason just tearing up. You know what I mean? Like, You guys ever seen fucking, Waterboy or whatever? The coach has like a mental block or whatever. And then all of a sudden you take that little thing out of his way, give him one visualization cue, and he's running all these crazy plays again. Kyle needs to just focus on making plays for the players that he has. And let's finally put to bed this whole idea that Bill Parcells put out there that if you want him to cook a meal, let him shop for the groceries. Like, no, bitch, I'm going to give you the meal. Okay. This is Beat Bobby Flay. I'm telling you what to cook. Okay. Just go out there and cook it.
Mike, what are your thoughts? That's interesting. John Lynch getting moved up, get a real GM in there.
All right. So my premise is very similar to Matt's, but with the entire coaching staff, right? I'm not saying everyone needs to go, but I think that Kyle has been surrounded for too long by yes men. For too long. Nobody on this team has any say-so to challenge Kyle Shanahan. There was a play in the divisional game where Kyle called the play, Brian Robinson was on the field. Kyle looks up and Christian McCaffrey is in front of him, and he burns a timeout. Now, before he burned the timeout, Robinson starts behind Purdy. He goes out to the left of the offense. Kyle looks up and says, "What the fuck?" and calls a timeout. He comes back in the same formation with Christian McCaffrey behind Purdy, runs Christian McCaffrey to the left of the offense, and then runs this play. That tells me that Kyle doesn't believe that his running backs are interchangeable. That's a problem. Bobby Turner, I have an immense amount of respect for. But if Kyle doesn't believe that any running back can execute a certain play that's called and trust the position coach, you got to go. Someone's got to tell Kyle, hey, trust these guys. It's not going to be Robinson's first time running a route. Trust these guys. Let these guys go out there and play a fucking snap. Please, you don't have to have Christian McCaffrey out there for this play to be successful. Kyle doesn't trust anybody on the offensive side of the ball. I have a long list. Let me just, you know what? I'm going to read you guys my message, and then I'll elaborate as I go along. Obviously, Chris Kosera. He's at the top of my list. He's been at the top of my list. Matt said why. I'm not going to go into it anymore. All right? Ray Brown should be one and done. All right? Our corners got worse. Our best corner on this team, Diamador Lenore, hadn't given up a touchdown in 26 games. Then Brown gets here from Boston College or some shit like that, and Lenore looks average at best. He's got to fucking go. Seeing corners regress, that's a problem. Then you get, let me see, Brown. Oh, I said that already. Sorry. Daniel Bullocks. He's the next one on the list. He's got to go. He's our passing game specialist. What exactly is he special at? What does he do in the passing game? Help me. Daniel Bullocks doesn't do shit for the secondary at all. It'll be a 3rd and 8 play, and our DBs are lined up 13 yards back. And when they snap the ball, they're backpedaling. They're giving up all the yards that they need for the first down. And even if you don't give up all the yards, let's say it's 3rd and 8, and those guys are lined up 7 yards and they're backpedaling, you're still making it so that you only got to break one tackle, and then it's a first down. Get him the fuck out of here. I'm tired of it. Brian Fleury, he's got to go. Run game is getting worse, and the fact that Kyle calls a timeout because the player isn't on the field, it's fucking disgusting. I just talked about that. All right? There's no one here to challenge Kyle at all, especially on the offensive side of the ball. It's just a big buddy group. The running back should be used interchangeably. All right? Leonard Hankinson, Matt, you mentioned him earlier. He's got to go. We haven't developed a single wide receiver on this roster. You guys tried to sit here and credit, these are my thoughts. You guys tried to credit Juwan Jennings for being developed. He's been brought along. He's been playing more. So I think naturally he's going to get better. I don't think that these wide receiver coaches have taught him shit. They haven't taught him anything. In fact, I watched Juwan Jennings this year drop more passes than I've ever seen in his entire career. Juwan Jennings' first half game, every game this year, I was like, let's go ahead and get the drop out the way. Let's go ahead and get the bad play out the way so we can have a better second half. That's regression, people. That's regression. All right? Then they promoted him to pass games. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Where are we at here? Here we go. Andrew Hayes Stoker. He just collects checks. He switched from the defensive side of the ball to the wide receivers, and they haven't improved. I want anyone related to wide receiver development on this team gone. Same goes for DB development. Greg Suggs. I got so excited when I heard that Robert Saleh was taking Greg Suggs with him to Tennessee. And then Matt Mayoko had to come out and retract his statement. I almost fucking cried. Like, I went from doing a happy dance to looking for a box of Kleenex. That's how sad I was that Brian Suggs might be coming back. He should be one and done. Get him out of here. This defensive line group looked like shit, in my opinion. Flashes that happened were all natural ability. I don't see anybody improving on this defensive line. I don't care if they're a veteran that was brought in from outside or Minihue, Huff. None of these guys got better, all right? What we see consistently from everybody is indicative of what coaching brings, and what we saw consistently for the defensive line was negative shit. Constantly not setting the edge, missing the initial tackle. Like, it was just a shit show.
He's living off of the one good Kerry Hyder season.
Like
That's
like,
what he's living off of.
Right. Like, what are we doing? How do we go 19 games and still see us failing to set the edge in the most important times of the season? We played 19 games this season, and how many times did we see the edge collapse in that divisional round game? Just escape, easy, no problem. I don't give a fuck if it's replacement levels. We're talking about scheme. Scheme and schematics and execution is 100% on the coaching. 100% on the coaching. All right, let me keep going here. Mike Nicolini, get the fuck out of here. They continue to show us that they don't give a fuck about what's important. One of the most injured teams in the last 3 years, and here he is. This is the guy that is in charge of our strength and conditioning staff. All right? This guy was an intern that they turned to head strength and conditioning. This guy came from San Jose State. It's not like they cast some net around the country to find a guy. He came from fucking San Jose State. They just looked in their own backyard and said, "Hey, you got some experience like with like the strength and conditioning staff over there? Come on in. Come on. You can come in as an intern." And they promoted him all the way to the top. That's my list of people that need to go immediately. We can't keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting to get better results. It doesn't make any sense. I talked about Bobby Turner. I love Bobby Turner. He's one of the most respected running back coaches. You listen to Frank Gore talk about Bobby Turner, and Frank Gore will tell you how he took my career to the next level. Cool. I hear you, Frank. I might not agree with you, but I hear you. I think Frank Gore's better years was way before Bobby Turner got here. But that also had probably something to do with youth, right? So, cool. There's too many yes men. There's too many yes men in the building, and we refuse to move on from veteran players. Matt, you said something earlier in the show about getting rid of a guy a year too early or something like that than a year too late.
Better get rid of him a year too early than too late. Yeah.
We don't know how to do that here because we refuse to let changes be made. And Kyle says, these are my guys, and we're going to keep rocking with them. That goes back to what you said about John Lynch being moved. The GM has to have a set of balls and make those decisions. That's the GM's job. Kyle's going to say, these are my guys, and this is what they do. The GM is going to say, yeah, but time says something different. Let me draft somebody to replace this guy, and let's go ahead and start moving on. They don't have that here because Kyle has too much fucking power. I'm not saying get rid of Kyle. I'm saying we got to shake shit up so that way we can have a really good team and coaching staff that can develop and use talent as they come and go. I'm done.
Okay. Sheesh. I like it, though. I like it because I'll tell you what, something's got to give. Something has to change, and we'll see who goes with Robert Saleh to Tennessee. He hired his own special teams coordinator. That was my biggest fear, to be honest, that he was going to take Brant Boyer with him because we finally had a respectable special teams unit.
Well, they hired Brian Dable as our offensive coordinator today.
Right.
Yeah.
So we don't have to worry about
good
Brant
move for
Boyer
him.
going.
By the way. I think that's a good hire.
Yeah, and we'll see who else he takes. Scruggs, the defensive line coach, was like the only one that we had seen so far, and then Matt Mayoka retracted the report. Kyle Shanahan said he does anticipate he's going to try and take some. We'll see. Something's got to give because they're clearly not getting the most out of the roster. Now, it's hard to say because this year they weren't healthy, but even then, when they were healthy, it's like I feel like they underperform at times. So, and some shit comes down to just not being prepared. Mike, you talked about setting the edge. That's a coaching issue. Tackling, that's a coaching issue. So something's got to give, and we're all in agreement that we're hoping it's not Gus Bradley as the 100%. Next DC. Hopefully,
I'd rather see Raheem Morris in here.
Raheem Morris coming in. It looks like Jim Schwartz is going to get that head coaching job in Cleveland. What's up?
You guys have mentioned that twice now, that it looks like he's going to get that job. I think they would have announced it if he was going to get the job because he's already in-house. So I think they might be waiting for someone off of one of these two staffs. I could be wrong.
Well, Nate
I could be wrong.
Steelhouse is like one of the guys that they're reportedly trying to get from the Rams, right?
Right.
From the Rams, but they're out now.
Right, but they're out now. And
the word on the street was that they were that Jimmy Haslam was trying to say, like, hey, if you come take this head coaching job, then you need to take on Jim Schwartz as your DC.
Yeah.
So
but
here's my
in
issue
lieu
with
of everybody telling him to kick rocks, then what's the next best thing? You want to keep Jim Schwartz, then you make Jim Schwartz the coach.
See, I see what you're saying. If the next head coach isn't going to want to keep him, then fuck it. Then keep him as okay. Right. I see what you're saying. Here's my issue with the Raheem Morris thing. and this has been my issue for the last couple of seasons because I realized it, I think 2 seasons ago. Kyle can't bring in anybody that he doesn't have some direct link to.
He does.
Even
He
with
does.
even
he does.
wait.
They go back years.
Yeah, they got arrested together at the 2005 Combine.
No, I know that. That's kind of my point, though. That's more of my point. What I'm saying is he can't seem to bring anybody in that he doesn't have a direct link to. And that's an issue. I don't want you hiring your buddies or someone that you go way back with or someone that you got the same fucking tattoo with. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see buddy hires. I want to see this team do their diligence and find someone. Do a real search and evaluate the people that you're bringing in to hire. They only hire familiarity hires.
But
What
it's not.
connection did he have to
It'd be a
Wilkes?
totally different. It would be a totally different scheme. He
So
runs
what?
like a hybrid 4-3. The whole point is that we're tired of seeing the wide 9 fucking cover 3 soft baby shell shit, and this would be a different scheme.
Oh, no. Okay, I hear you. Hold on.
I don't want
Let me
them to
separate.
hire Gus Bradley because it's going to be the same fucking scheme they've been running for 10 years.
I'm with you. I'm with you on the scheme change, and I know that Raheem would bring a scheme change. Or
There's nobody
here's my
better
issue:
out there than Raheem Morris either.
Kyle
right
might say, "Hey, you're my guy. Can you come in and try to run or tweak this scheme?" And that's my issue. I don't want it to be someone that Kyle is buddies with and can
but here's the
overrun.
thing.
That's my issue.
He's loosely from the Vic Fangio scheme, who Kyle also really respects. So that would allow
tried to get.
Yeah.
Yes.
right, exactly. So that would allow Morris to run his scheme a little bit more independently.
I would
It's
be
somebody
very
that
happy
Kyle
with
would
Morris.
trust. It would somebody Kyle would trust to run the scheme.
Yeah.
That's the difference, right? He didn't really trust Steve Wilkes, and he definitely didn't trust Sorensen. But he brought Saleh in. He trusted Saleh. He trusted D'Amico Ryans because he was an in-house guy that was developed. By the way, you want to talk about develop for this franchise, dude? Kyle Shanahan's coaching tree is fucking massive. He's got his dudes all over the fucking league.
Most of Kyle Shanahan's tree is his dad's tree. They were all there in Washington.
Not necessarily, but
I just said
but
most
what
of
they,
it.
But what were they doing though?
They were position
McVay-
coaches, and
No,
Right.
they were like assistants and quality
They were like
control. and
yes.
they were tight end coaches. They were wide receiver coaches.
McVay,
I'm not-
McVay
McVay
was, a tight end
was-
coach. Right, but then Kyle had them
McDaniel.
all in different places.
Right. Yeah, they followed him to
Right,
Houston. They followed him to Atlanta. They followed him to Cleveland.
And now that they're all gone and moved on, what is Kyle going to do? We haven't seen him do anything that wasn't someone that you know, and that's my concern. You brought in Robert Saleh, and Robert Saleh brought in Brant Boyer. Where's the outside hire other than Steve Wilkes? And that Steve Wilkes shit, that shit lasted for 4 weeks, and Kyle was yelling at him saying,
That's
"Get your
6
ass from
degrees
upstairs
of-
and come
that's
downstairs."
6 degrees of Kevin Bacon,
Yeah,
though. Like,
can I
everybody's
argue-
connected?
That's the same for every team, just about.
Right.
You only bring in guys that you're familiar with. You have ties. As soon as they hire
What's the
that-
What's the Robert Saleh tie to Dable?
Well, I don't know, but he's putting together a brand new staff.
But that's what Kyle won't do. That's my point. Kyle won't do what Robert Saleh just did. His second attempt. Let me go out and find a
Well,
really
he has
good
done
offensive
that.
coordinator.
You just admitted he did that with Wilkes.
No, and it lasted for 4 weeks. He didn't trust him.
He stayed
It
there
lasted
the
for
whole
4 weeks, and he said, "Hey, come from upstairs, bring your ass downstairs." And we saw Kyle override Steve Wilkes' call all the way to the Super Bowl.
Well, okay, so whether or not the results were what they were, he did it, right? You're on him for not doing it, and then you say he did it, but he didn't do it right.
But
or
he
didn't
did
work
it
out,
once.
he
We've
didn't
had
trust them.
5. This is going to be our 5th defensive coordinator in as many years, and none of them are.
You're saying that as if they all got fired. 2 of them became head coaches, one twice. Like,
Right.
that's kind of hard when you get Saleh to the Jets, D'Amico to the Texans, and then you get Wilkes, Sorensen, and then Saleh back, but then he left again to the Titans. It's not like they fired 5 in a row after each year. So I'd say
That's fair.
Yeah, and,
Some
and
context
by the
there.
way, Saleh himself is a Pete Carroll guy.
right.
Which is
Jacksonville,
the system
Seattle.
that he wanted. Yeah, Jacksonville and Seattle.
Right.
Yeah, that's the system that Kyle was insistent on
But
having.
That's not the system that they were running when he was in Cleveland or Washington or anywhere else. So that in and of itself was a new thing for him. We know the offense is going to be all guys that he trusts because it's his fucking offense.
For sure. I'm not mad at that. If you
But I'm
want to
saying, like,
implement your
if-
shit, I'm not mad at that.
Right. But I mean, again, you're talking about Raheem Morris, who also comes from a separate tree. right? He's
Right.
more of the Carroll Fangio tree. And
But-
if he comes in, he runs like a hybrid 3-4, which is not what the
Yes.
49ers run at all. So now
all.
it's not like now it's like, okay, well, now we're not doing this thing, we're doing a different thing. And I mean, again, 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, you can connect everybody to everybody if you look hard enough.
I would also
that's the
argue
problem.
he's been coaching for 22 years in the NFL. He, like Matt said, he's going to have
Yeah,
some
he
sort of
knows
connection to
He's
everyone.
gonna be linked
Especially
to-
when his
No.
dad. I mean, he used to babysit Christian McCaffrey. Is that the reason why
mean-
they traded for him?
Listen,
That's-
I'm all for them getting rid of Bobby Turner, who again, that definitely is a Mike Shanahan guy. He was Denver's running backs coach
Right.
since 1995 to like 2009.
Right.
Literally was everywhere that Mike was been as far as he was coaching, and then Kyle just picked him up and brought him with him.
Right.
You know, but
And Johnny Holland, Johnny Holland's a guy that I think should be safe because I love what our linebackers have become. He continues to develop linebackers. I don't give a shit what anybody says. I don't give a shit.
Especially
there are
people like
players-
Fred Warner.
there
like
are
Fred
players
Warner,
being
right?
developed, huh,
Like
Mike?
Fred Warner.
There was a linebacker with an S. Clip that.
Foot and mouth. I'll give you guys that one. I was trying not to do it, but I'll give you guys that one. Here, but my only hesitancy with the Morris thing is I don't want Kyle bringing him in because they know each other and saying, "Hey, look at my system and fix it." That's what I'm saying. I want someone that's going to come in and say, "This is my system, and I'm going to run this."
I would
opposed
say-
to I'm friends with you and I'll try to do
But
what you
it's-
want me to do. I don't want someone that's going to just bend to
Can I
Kyle.
ask
That's
you
all I'm
who's a
saying.
better candidate out? Who is a
Schwartz.
better qualified? Schwartz is under contract.
No,
Yeah.
no, he's not. No,
He
he's
He
not.
is.
He is.
He's under
No.
contract.
Yes, he
That's
is.
not true. I heard
Yes,
that.
he is.
Okay, let me look it up. But
He was
even
never
if he is-
fired as defensive coordinator. Only the head coach was fired. He's still under contract to Cleveland.
I thought
So
I
in
read
order
some-
for
and-
him to
and I
be
could wrong.
free, the new head coach would have to say, "I'm not retaining him."
Right.
Or I guess I think you could trade for a coordinator. I don't know if I've ever
what
seen
what I
it.
would like for the Niners to do is this, right? I don't care about the actual hire. I care about the process. Kyle doesn't bring in anybody to interview. It's just call my buddy, and then that's where we go from.
Well,
or
that's
promote
not true.
from within.
But that's not true though, too, because he definitely kicked the tires on Spags last year too.
He tried to
Or
get
the year-
Spags.
the
yeah.
year
he
with
tried to.
Thornton. Tried
He
to get
didn't.
Spags.
He couldn't.
Right.
Well,
they never
Stags,
even let him come.
Stags signed
Again,
with Kansas City.
That-
He tried.
That's not from a lack of attempt, though. It's showing that he's willing to do these things. He knows he's not a defensive guy, and the fact that he's like, "Oh, I like Fangio," and tried to bring Fangio in. Oh, dude, I like Spags. What Spags has been doing, right? Jim Schwartz has always
Okay.
been a guy that he said he's respected. We talk about I'm spacing on him. Minnesota defensive coordinator. I'm
Brian
spacing on his name.
Flores.
Flores is another guy that he's always talked about. So, like, I don't think it would be as much as like, "Hey, Raheem, fix my system." It would be like, "Hey, man, I know you do great work. Like, do your fucking thing, man. Fix this defense."
That's what
rather than
I
fix my
want.
system.
If he lets Morris come in and run his system and not say like fix mine, then I will absolutely be happy with it. But
I think-
my fear is the familiarity, and he might be able to convince Morris to try to do this.
I think more. I think it's unfounded fear simply because I think that Kyle doesn't really want to. Again, after going through, you could say maybe previously, but after going through the Wilkes and the Sorensen thing, I think he doesn't want to have to worry about the defensive side of the ball. Yeah, like I'm sure he's
that's fair.
so
I do
happy
think
that
he
Boyer
walked away
is
from
in
it this year. Yeah.
I think he's so happy that Boyer's in the building because he never has to give a second thought to special teams, which he never wanted to fucking do to begin with, right? Like he wants to run his offense. That's what he wants to do.
Also,
so I think that would be the thing.
Niner Dev, he could have had Fangio, but Kyle didn't want to switch teams. I don't think there was ever a point where the Niners had an opening and Fangio wasn't under contract.
Or head coaching somewhere.
Or a head coach. Yeah, exactly. He
Yeah.
was either a head coach or a DC every time the Niners had an opening.
Mm-hmm.
So when he had an opening, and then he ended up going to, I think he went to Miami when he got fired from Denver. He went to Miami for a little bit, like half a season or some shit like that, and then he didn't get along with McDaniel. Pretty sure we had D'Amico here.
Then he went to Philadelphia, right?
Then he went to Philly. Yeah.
He was
Ghost
like
had
he was
a really
like
good comment there. I forgot about that. He tried to get Belichick also.
He
Good-
did.
good-
he
good
did.
job,
He did
Ghost.
try to get.
That's
He
right.
called Bill Belichick.
So
So
it
that shows
seems like
he's
they
open
shoot.
to it.
He shoots for the top of the tops, or let's just promote from within. It's like,
And I think-
but why is there no in between? That's the terrifying part.
Well, shouldn't that be the option?
That should be exactly
No,
the option.
I'm not mad at the shooting for the top, right? But the odds are you're not going to get Belichick to come out of retirement. You're not going to get Fangio because he's not available. You're not going to get the Shorts. You're not going to get Flores, right? I get that.
Yeah.
But why not look for someone in their houses? You get what I'm saying? Why not call Flores as linebacker coach and say, hey, are you interested? Because we promoted D'Amico from the linebacker coach to DC, and it worked out well. Why not do that? If you can't get that guy, get his guy.
Because they're unproven commodities. A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. You don't know what the fuck the linebacker coach has been doing.
But the same could have been said for D'Amico.
Well, he did know because he was here.
He was here.
He's in house.
You guys think that Sorensen? All right, never mind. I don't want to do it. I know we're running late.
Sorensen was strictly a byproduct of them swinging big and having no other fucking option.
Remember how late they announced that?
They tried to get Ulbrich from the Jets from Saleh's staff. They blocked him. He tried to get Belichick. He tried to get Spags. He tried to get all these guys, and then it was like, we're running out of fucking time. We got to get. Well, I guess here we go. And then they learned from that too. So I think it's actually a good sign that they haven't just announced that Gus Bradley is the new defensive coordinator. Because all you have to do is be like, hey, listen, we got to do this Rooney Rule thing, right? I'm sure you understand, and then find a minority guy on staff to interview for the job, and then with no intention of giving it to him, then you just announce Gus Bradley.
So they have upgraded the rule. Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to talk about. They tried to bring in somebody and they turned it down. Don't satisfy some Rooney Rule shit on some humbug shit. I forget who it was. Did you guys see it? You guys remember the headline?
But it was
the Niners tried to bring in somebody.
I think it was just like a defensive position. It wasn't specific, like a high-ranking defensive assistant position or some shit like that.
Right.
From the Falcons.
And they turned it down. And that's another thing I don't want it to be like, hey, I need to satisfy this Rooney Rule.
They need to get rid of the Rooney Rule. It's so counterproductive. It's honestly insulting to good candidates because it's like, am I just the token
Well, it's the reason why Anthony Lynn's getting interviews every year to be a head coach.
Right.
Right. I just want them to respect the positions. And it took up until last year for Kyle to respect the special teams position. I want him to respect the defense position the way that he had rest and trust in it.
I don't think that he doesn't respect it. I think he doesn't want to have to deal with it. I think he wants to have a guy that he respects to run it for him. I think there's a difference, right? Like, I respect what my wife does for a living, but I could not be more bored to tears when I hear details about it, and I don't want to fucking deal with it at all. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that it's not valuable, and it doesn't mean that it doesn't matter. Obviously, Kyle thinks that special teams matters in terms of phases of the game. He just doesn't want to fucking, plan for it all or whatever.
All right, we got to wrap up here.
Strawberry has a comment right there. It says Bosa wouldn't work in a 3-4. I don't know that to be true.
Yeah,
I don't know that to be true.
He just wouldn't have to have his hand in the ground. I think he's athletic enough.
Right.
And he has technique.
And we've seen Bosa line up inside also. Like, we don't have to sit here and pretend like Bosa can't do both. Like, and that's my issue, is that Niner fans are just so conditioned to what we see, and they look at the roster and say, we don't have the roster for a 3-4. That's not true, because no 3-4 really just rushes 3 players. It doesn't exist. So we got to get out of that mindset.
You can find room in any scheme for a Nick Bosa.
Right.
Just like you can for a Fred Warner. And then beyond that, who gives a fucking shit? You ain't got shit else in the front 7 anyway.
Yep. All right, that's going to do it for tonight's show. Let's wrap up. It's getting late. Mike, let the folks know where to find you. I'm sure they already know. Premium 49ers content now that we enter the off season.
So I am happy to announce something new. This is going to be my first time ever saying it, and it's not the Patreon. It's not the YouTube. It's not the Instagram. It's not the Twitch. As of tonight, we officially have a TikTok page, and I want you guys to go and subscribe. Hey. All right? I was anti-TikTok for so long, but I've been talking to a lot of people, and they were like, Mike, you got to get on TikTok. So, guys, please head on over to TikTok, tiktok.com/the @ What's that called? There's a word for it.
Ampersand.
No, the ampersand is the and symbol.
What is it? I don't know. It's just an @ symbol, I guess.
It's just @
All right, we'll just call it the @ symbol. At Nothing But Niners, spelled all the way out. So please, guys, head on over there. That's the only thing I'm promoting for myself. Not even going to promote the Patreon. And for all of you who are watching right now from the Nothing But Niners channel, please subscribe to my guys, 49ers Hive. It's underneath Zach right now. Or, yeah, it's underneath Zach right now if you're watching on the full screen version.
Okay. Thank you guys for rocking with us. Matt, do us the honors. Take us home.
Yeah, listen, end of the season, and it didn't go the way we wanted, but we have a lot of exciting things coming up just because we got the off season. The draft is always fun, so look forward to us bringing you that. It's Senior Bowl week this week. We're diving into, well, at least I'm diving into film, seeing who is going to be out there. And I saw somebody comment here earlier about Diego Pavia. Bro is 5'9" and 7/8. No, thank you. He's undraftable in my opinion. He's a little midget man. Be that as it may, we're going to have a lot of stuff. Guys, I think I have an idea for the next show, but I'll talk to you guys about that off air. So for Zach, for Mike, for myself, we love having you guys here. We couldn't do it without you. And until next time, go Niners.